everyone, today I'm going to be showing you the gear that I'll be taking with me on my 2022 Appalachian Trail Thru-Hike. First up I have my shelter, so I'll be taking the Z-Packs Duplex tent. This is going to be an upgrade for me from the Big Agnes Copper Spur one-person tent. The Duplex is going to be significantly lighter, 600 grams lighter in fact, as it only weighs 560 grams. And the reason for this is that you don't need tent poles to set it up. Instead you use your trekking poles. You also don't have a fly with the Duplex, unlike the Big Agnes tent that I have, which might mean slightly more condensation on the inside, but I think for those weight savings it will be well worth it. To set up the tent, I've got some Z-Packs titanium 5 stakes. So I've got 9 of these. You only need 8 to set the tent up. But knowing me, I'll lose one, so having a spare won't go astray. And then for my trekking poles, I have a pair of the Lecky Micro Vario Carbon poles. And what's great about these is they're both collapsible and adjustable, so I can fold them right down to fit inside my pack or my suitcase, and plus be able to adjust them on the trail if I'm going up or down, and to suit the height that I need for the tent. My sleep system, I'll be taking with me an Enlightened Equipment Revelation quilt. The great thing about Enlightened Equipment is you can actually have your quilts or sleeping bags designed to your specifications. So I elected to have this quilt made with 850 down fill power, rated at 10 degrees Fahrenheit and a short, narrow fit. I really prefer to take a quilt with me instead of a sleeping bag, because a quilt you can lay flat and you can also have it cinched up like a sleeping bag. The other thing that I was able to do, because it was custom, is have the top and the bottom of the quilt itself with 20 denier fabric, which is heavier than the middle part, so it just adds a little bit more durability to the quilt. So with the straps included, the quilt weighs in at about 600 grams. The other thing that I purchased with the quilt is this really fashionable hoodie. So the idea of the hoodie is that you wear it with the quilt like you would with a hood on a sleeping bag, but because it's separate to the quilt itself, you can move around a bit more easily in your tent or in your sleeping pad. And if you are really brave, you can also wear this as like a beanie around camp. Next up, I have my Nemo regular mummy-sized inflatable mattress. It's the Tensor model and it's also insulated, so it has a 3.5 R value. Comes with a sack that you can use to blow up the mattress to prevent getting condensation and therefore mold inside the mattress itself. And then I'll be storing both of these in the Nemo stuff sack that the mattress came with. For my pillow, I have a Cedar Summit Eros ultralight regular size inflatable pillow. And one really great tip that I heard from K&A Outdoors is that you use a mozzie net over the end of your sleeping pad when it's inflated. And then what you do is you tuck your pillow inside the net, and that secures it to the mat, so it stops it slipping and sliding around all night, which can sometimes be a bit of a pain with inflatable mattresses. And lastly, I have my liner, which is a Sea to Summit Thermalite Reactor. They say that it can add about 8 degrees Celsius warmth to your sleep system, so I'll start off with a liner and see how I go, whether it actually adds value. But the other thing that liners are really good for is that they help keep your quilt or your sleeping bag clean. So I'll see how I go with that, and if it warms up along the trail, I might be able to just use that instead of my quilt and post my quilt further up. And because I'm quite a fussy sleeper, I'll also be taking my eye mask and a ton of earplugs. For my water filtration system, I'm going to take a Katadyn filter, which screws onto a water bottle. The only disadvantage with this filter is that you're limited to the type of water bottle that you can screw it onto, because of the size of the mouth. But one that it does fit are the Hydropack brand bottles. So I'll just take a 1 litre Hydropack bladder, and then filter the water into some disposable water bottles that I can purchase along the way. And I'll also take some water purification tablets just in case the filter fails or I leave it behind somewhere by accident, until I can get to a place where I can purchase a new filter. For my cooking system, I've got an MSR Pocket Rocket little mini stove with the little collapsible arms, and that will screw onto an isobutane propane gas canister that I'll pick up when I get to America. To light the stove, I've got some waterproof matches and a Bic mini lighter, just so that I've got a bit of a backup by having both. To cook in or to boil my water in, I've got a Toaks titanium 600ml pot with a little lid and the collapsible handles there. And in case I want to keep my food insulated while I'm eating it out of the pot, I've made myself a little pot cozy just out of one of those windshield protectors and some duct tape. And that will also help keep my pot protected in my pack as well, and keep all of my bits and pieces together for my kitchen setup. To eat with, I've got a Cedar Summit spork. To drink from, I've got a Cedar Summit collapsible mug. If I need to cut anything up, I've got a Gerber foldable knife. And then to wash up with, I've got some Cedar Summit Wilderness Wash, a bit of chucks to wash out my pot and my cup and my spork, and then one of these little teeny Cedar Summit towels, microfiber towels, to dry everything up. My electronics, I'm going to be taking with me an Anker 20,000 milliamp, I think that's how you say it, power bank, which has 2 USB ports there and a little pouch that you can store it in. I'll be taking along my iPhone to record videos and take photos. I'm not taking a separate camera on this trail. I just want to make the weight savings, and I find that my iPhone takes some really good photos, so happy with that. I'll also be taking a double USB charger for when I'm in town to power up my electronics and my power bank, and a United States converter. Cords, obviously, one for the iPhone and one that will power up things like my headlamp and my Garmin Mini, which I'll talk about later. For my headlamp, I've got myself a Nightcore NU25 light. This one is rechargeable by USB. It doesn't have any batteries, so that makes it great that you don't have to carry spare batteries and be worried that the batteries are going to run out on you. Be taking along just a really basic model Fitbit and the charger. I decided not to lash out and buy myself a Garmin watch or a sports watch of that caliber, because I really thought, what am I going to do with that data in the end? So as long as I know how far approximately that I've gone each day in terms of getting to the next trail marker, etc., then I think I'll be fine with that. And then I'll just store that all in a 3-litre Osprey dry bag that I already had. I don't think it's particularly waterproof, but hoping that overall with my other waterproofing in my pack, that will all stay dry enough. So next I'll be running with you some of the safety and first aid equipment that I'll be taking along with me. So first up, I've just purchased a Garmin InReach Mini satellite communication device. So the great thing about this is once you've purchased a subscription to Garmin, I've just purchased the casual basic subscription. You can actually hit the SOS button if you're in real trouble, and it will contact the Garmin Emergency Coordination Centre, and they will send out the cavalry to come and find you, because it will send your GPS coordinates and let them know that you're in some dire straits. The other great features that come free are that you can send a preset text message to people in your contacts. I think you can set up 3. So for example, you could send, when you don't have mobile signal, you can send a message telling your family that you've arrived safely, or that you're running late, or other messages that you would find particularly useful. And you can also pay extra fees for things like text messaging. You get a certain number free a month, and you can do waypoints and track points, etc. But I don't intend to use those features because they're going to cost a couple of bucks, I think, each time you use that. It's mainly for my safety. Next up, I've just got a whistle so that I can obviously alert someone if I'm in danger, or hopefully scare off a bear. I have a little mirror, so if I were in danger or lost on the trail, you can use that as a reflective device. But also I was going to do away with this, but I thought it might be helpful to sort of check my back and back of my legs, etc. for ticks, which apparently are one of the biggest dangers on the trail. So with that, I found this nifty little tick removing device at Paddy Palin. Not sure how reliable it will be, so I kind of went to the expense of just buying another pair of fine point tweezers, and I'll see which one works the best when I get a tick. In terms of my first aid kit, it's pretty basic. I just keep that in a Ziploc bag, but I've got basic medications, so my daily medications, prescription medications, but also things like a paracetamol, ibuprofen, some anti-nausea tablets and some anti-diarrhea tablets. I've got some anti-chafe waterproof cream. Because I've been walked into a bush previously and got stuff in my eyes, I'm a bit paranoid about that now, so I always carry some eye wash solution, a little eye wash bath. I'm prone to dry eyes, so I just take some daily eye drops. In case of that I come across an emergency, I always carry a pair of gloves and a CPR mask. For my blister kit, I keep that separately in a place that's really easy to access, and just keep that in that little pouch. But I've got just some Body Glide, I've got some talcum powder to keep my feet dry and hopefully prevent blisters, things like corn pads, band-aids, gel pads, instructions on how to tape yourself in case you get injured, some kinesiology tape, and then some little scissors to cut that up as well. Next up, I have got a COVID safe kit. So we've been really fortunate in Western Australia to have had pretty low case numbers of COVID. And to date, touch wood, I haven't had COVID. So I've got some rapid antigen tests. I've got some N95 masks to wear in town or when I'm in a shuttle, and some hand sanitizer wash. And finally, just my little repair kit. In there, I generally keep some spare cord, some safety pins, some dental floss and a needle in case I need to make repairs, some duct tape and a pen. And I nearly forgot, I also always carry a snake bite bandage when I'm hiking. I normally carry 2, but I might err on the lighter side and just carry 1. I believe there's rattlesnakes and some other venomous snakes on the trail, so really used to carrying these in Australia, but it looks like these might come in handy on the Appalachian Trail too. So I've really tried to limit the amount of toiletries that I'll be taking on the trail, because things like creams, etc. Weigh quite a bit. But what I will be taking is my toothbrush and a small toothpaste, a comb that I've cut the handle off, a pair of nail clippers, and some moisturizing cream because I'm really prone to dry skin, and a luxury item which I won't be using on the trail but would be nice to have in town is a razor. Obviously there's no toilets along the trail except for when you get to shelters. They've got what they call privies, which I think are similar to long drops that you have here in Australia. So I've got a lightweight trowel from the Juice to dig the cat holes as part of the leave no trace principles. I've got some toilet paper. But I will also be taking what's called a cooler cloth, which is essentially a pee rag that is designed specifically and really quite popular on trails nowadays, that you can use just for a light wipe and then rinse out along the trail. But it saves you having to carry used toilet paper along the way and replace that as much as you would otherwise have to. And I've also got some doggy doo bags just for other waste that you might want to keep private in your rubbish bag. Because generally I'd be using a Ziploc bag and they're obviously clear. And so I keep one of these in the top of my pack just for my general waste each day, like food wrappers, etc. Okay, now for my clothes. So on the trail, I have one outfit that I'll be wearing day in, day out. And the reason for this is after the first day, you're going to stink. So the next day you're going to stink, the third day you're going to stink. So there is absolutely no point in having a change of clothes other than underwear and socks. So my one trail outfit that I'll start out with is a long sleeve lightweight hiking shirt from MacPack. And this is great because one, it'll keep me a little bit warm while it's a bit cooler because it's long sleeve, but also protects me from the sun when it starts to come out. It's got a little pocket in the side so you can store things in there like your wallet if you're in town. and it's got a high collar to protect your neck from the sun as well. On the bottom, I've got a pair of North Face hiking pants, which I already had. Not sure how these will go, but I thought I might as well, given I've already laid out the money for these, start out with these and then see if I like hiking in them for that kind of distance. They've got the zip-on, zip-off leg pants, so you can convert them into shorts and quite a few pockets and things like that. And the great thing is they're fairly water resistant, I found, when I've worn them before. So with light rain, it dries pretty quickly. The other benefit of wearing long sleeves is that I'm hoping that will protect me from ticks. The other thing that I've done is I've treated all my clothing except for my underwear in permethrin, which is supposed to be a tick repellent and protect you from other bugs and things like that, but likely that I'll have to repeat that treatment along the way. On my feet, I will be wearing a pair of Injinji liners with icebreaker wool socks. I've ordered myself a pair of gaiters, which will be ultra gaiters, and I pick those up when I get to the States. So for my shoes, I have a pair of Ultra Lone Peak 5s. I'm really in love with these shoes because they're the first pair of hiking shoes that haven't given me blisters so far, touch wood, and I've been wearing them quite a bit training on different terrain and with my pack fully loaded over several days. So that's one thing I'm really grateful for at the moment. I'm sure with the humidity, etc., that might change on trail, but for now, I'm just really thankful that I've had no hot spots or blisters. The other thing that's been really great with this shoe compared to other pairs of shoes I've had is that it has a really wide toe box. So meaning when I've been going down slopes, my toes haven't been touching the end or feeling like that they're being compressed. So I'm really hoping that I come home from this particular hike with all my toenails intact, but that will yet to be seen. The only thing that I've found with these shoes, but I'm imagining it would have been the same regardless because I've had foot pain walking in all types of trail shoes that I've had, whether they be mid-height boots or trail runners, is foot pain. And so I did go to the podiatrist yesterday. So what she recommended was that I use an like a off-the-shelf orthotic to support my arches a little bit more because that's where I was getting the pain. And hopefully that will stop what she thinks is the start of plantar fasciitis, which I was dreading, but just hoping that they are going to keep my feet as protected as they can be on the trail, knowing that I'm going to experience pain regardless, but hopefully minimize it. The other little trick that I learned from someone, I think it was at the Runners Warehouse maybe in West Perth, is that when lacing up the shoes, I found that I was in between sizes, which obviously is a pretty common thing, and one foot is half a size bigger than the other. So rather than having to sacrifice the toe box room and go for a smaller size that fits sort of just right, I went up a size knowing that my feet would also potentially swell on the trail, but my feet were slipping a little bit. So what she suggested was a lace locking method, which I'm sure lots of people have heard about it, but I hadn't, and it's been really life-changing in being able to buy the bigger size shoe and have that extra room. But it's where you use that extra hole, which I always wonder why there was that extra hole on your shoes. Lace it in like a bunny loop on both sides and then just thread your lace in like that, and then you can actually lock your ankle right in, and I found that stopped my foot from slipping, particularly on that foot that is a little bit smaller than the other. So to wear around camp and also to sleep in, I've got Mountain Designs long sleeve top that's 75% merino and then has 25% polyester. I've got a pair of Mountain Design thermal pants, they're synthetic, and then I've got a pair of long Injinji socks. I really like having a pair of camp shoes to wear around so that one, you can air out your feet, or two, give them a bit of a break from your shoes if they're all wet. And the camp shoes that I'll be taking are these Zero shoes. I really like these because you can actually wear socks with them, so if it's really cold you can still keep your socks on, but also if there's mosquitoes then you can protect your feet with socks as well. And they're really great for water fording, and they're designed actually to hike in. So if for some reason your shoes get buggered up, you can just wear these. No. I'll also be carrying a North Face basic t-shirt in case it gets too warm to sleep in my thermals at night, or if I need extra insulation. And my mid layer is a North Face micro fleece with a quarter zip. So this is really good for cool mornings or generally around camp. And for when it's extra cold, I've got my Patagonia down sweater with a hood, which cinches in. It's got the full length zip and it's got pockets, and it also cinches in at the bottom, which is really great. On my hands, I've got myself some Z-Packs, possum down and merino wool gloves. These are also the ones that you can use your iPhone and stuff with, which will be really helpful. And I've just got this really basic MacPack headband, but I might upgrade to a buff if it's going to be particularly cold in the first few weeks. So for all my rain gear, I've got a pair of Z-Packs Virtus rain pants, which I got from them on sale. I've got a Helly Hansen wind and rain jacket, which has been really handy so far. It zips up and it cinches in. It's got some internal pockets and a hood. And I also ordered these rain mittens from Z-Packs to put over my woolen gloves in case it's raining and really cold during the day, or if I'm packing up a wet tent. The other thing, which might seem like a bit of a luxury and why would you carry this backpacking, but it's a hiking umbrella. And I've been a convert to these, particularly when it's really pouring with rain, because having it put up and over yourself and your pack means that it stops the water going between your pack and your back, which is really uncomfortable, and it can keep the rain off your face, so it just adds a bit more morale. I've just upgraded to the Z-Packs from a Sea to Summit collapsible umbrella. This one seems a little bit sturdier, but I haven't actually used it yet. And it also has a clip that you can attach to your pack, which hopefully will mean that I can still walk with the two trekking poles rather than trying to hold a pole and hold the umbrella at the same time. And the other great thing about this is that it has the UV reflector material on the outside. So if it's really sunny and you're wanting to protect yourself from the sun as well, you can put the umbrella up. On my head, I just have a basic lightweight cap from Kathmandu that I've had for years. Just bought a cheap pair of Cancer Council sunglasses, and I've got a little holder for that. And then my other sun gear, I forgot to mention earlier, is I've got a little thing of sun cream, 50 SPF. So for my underwear, I'll be taking a Playtex bra. This doesn't have any seams or wire, so it's really comfortable to wear. It's not a specific sports bra, but when I tried it on, it felt comfortable enough to be wearing day in, day out, and not have shoulder straps pressing down on the bra and causing me pain on my shoulders. It's also like a crop top design, so it will be good to wear if I go swimming anytime, rather than having to carry a separate bikini top or pair of bathers. I will be taking 2 pairs of Ex Officio 2.0 sports bikini briefs to wear on the trail, plus an extra pair of undies to wear at night so they're nice and fresh. And I forgot to mention earlier in the section about the gear that I'll be wearing on the trail, I'll be carrying an extra pair of hiking socks as well as my sleep socks. So they'll be the same as the ones that I'll be wearing on the trail, which are icebreaker socks and the Injinji liners. So because I'll be traveling from Australia to the United States, there's a few things that I needed to do to get prepped for international travel, particularly in the season of COVID. So first thing was getting making sure my passport was all in order and applying and getting my United States visa. So I'll be carrying my passport with me, obviously. I've also got my COVID international vaccination certificate. I went to the RAC and got myself an international driver's license. Got some US dollars in cash to pay for taxis and things like that when I arrive in Atlanta. I've got some passport size photos in case I apply for other visas or other licenses and things like that while I'm away, to save me getting more photos taken. Got my travel insurance details printed out. I've got medication information printed out from my doctor, and I've got a hard copy of like a photograph of my passport and driver's license and whatnot in case something goes wrong and I don't have access to internet where I can also save a photo of my documentation. And then I got myself a Z-Packs wallet to use on the trail. It's nice and lightweight. It looks like it might be waterproof too. Spare credit cards, and then I've got a Cedar Summit dry bag to keep all that in. So for a little bit more comfort on the trail, I always carry a sit pad. That's always been really helpful. If say it's wet out and you need to put your pack down, you can just plonk your pack down on top of the sit pad and the bottom doesn't get wet. If you've only got like dirt or mud around and you need to sit down and rest your legs, you can throw that out and sit on it. Or you can put it under your sleeping pad just for a little bit more insulation or cushioning if you're feeling sore. But when I watched one of Darwin on the Trails videos, he mentioned that I think it's Gossamer Gear make a really lightweight sit pad that's probably 3 times as or more the size of the Thermarest sit pad. It's actually full body length and width. Unfortunately, you can't get those in Australia, so I found that Orange Brown, which is a local cottage industry here in Australia, has a really similar product. So this sit pad here is really light, and the reason I went for this instead of my Thermarest pad is that, again, it's full body length. So it means if I am wanting to do stretching on the trail, I can roll this out and be sure that my body's not contacting the ground, particularly for the risk of getting ticks, which can cause Lyme disease. It means I can also put this under the full length of my sleeping pad just for a little bit more insulation if it's really cold. So for my pack, I have a Granite Gear Crown 2 Women's Fit pack. This particular model says that it's 60 litre, which sounds quite big, but what you can do is you can roll the top down and cinch it in so that if you're not carrying at full capacity, which I definitely won't be, you can make it a lot smaller in terms of its volume. And I believe that the 60 litres also includes the outside pockets. So at the front you have a mesh pocket, and on the sides you have 2 stretchy pockets. These also have a number of straps to be able to secure your gear with. So this front strap here, I attach my roll-up sit pad. It's got the little loops to carry your trekking poles if you add those on. And then on the sides, if you've got gear that's tall, so when I had a tent with tent poles, I put my poles in there and I could cinch it tightly in to stop those from falling out. It also has 2 hip belt pockets. These are quite small, as in I can't fit my phone in there, but they're handy for things like lip balm or tissues. And the other great thing about this particular pack is that you can take the hip belt out. So one, you can hike without it if you want to save the weight, but you can also, it velcros together. So depending on your waist size, you can actually make it larger or smaller around the waist, in addition to using the hip belt clips. You've got your 2 shoulder straps with your sternum strap. You've got your lifters there, you've got your hook, and it's got an internal frame which is really light and removable. So if you did want to make those weight savings again, you could take out the internal frame and the hip belt. I found this pack really comfortable. I've used that for several trips, so I didn't think there was much point in upgrading for this trip, even though I might be able to get a more lightweight pack. The other thing that it comes with is this brain, or this top pocket, which clips on and off. I was considering not taking this again to make some weight savings, but given that it's only about 90 grams and to have the convenience of not having to unroll the top of your pack to find stuff inside, I thought those items that you want quick access to, like your blister kit or your water filter, you could just put in the top. And then it's also got lots of little loops so that you can attach other things to it. Because, like I said, I can't fit my phone in my hip belt pocket, and also I find just with the way my arms move, I couldn't actually get my water bottles easily out of the side pockets, and rather than have to take my whole pack off to access my water, I wanted to be able to just quickly grab it on the trail. So I took a chance and I ordered these 2 pouches from Z-Packs when I purchased my tent and those other items. So one's a little water bottle holder, and the other's just a little ditty bag. And these were supposed to, well, I guess they're designed to fit on the shoulder straps of the Z-Packs modeled packs. Unfortunately, they don't actually fit on mine because you can't remove the straps to thread through the elastic. But what I have found is that on the sternum strap, I'm able to thread that through and then clip it together, so I can have my phone at the front and easily pull that out, and also my water bottle, and then I'm not adding extra weight on one shoulder or the other. And finally, I forgot to mention before, for my clothes and for my sleeping bag, I've got this waterproof stuff sack from Z-Packs. It's got a roll top closure and it's made out of Dyneema fabric. I would have liked to have got one of these for my electronics, but I completely forgot at the time, and I wasn't willing to pay an extra $26 US shipping just for the sake of having another little ditty bag. So in terms of my food, I'm not going to go through exactly what I'm going to take on the trail in this video, but I will say that to save a bit of time getting off the plane in Atlanta and then hitting the trail, I have purchased my first resupply already in Australia and checked with the customs website that all the items are permittable through the border. So I've got those items here already, and then that's been good to be able to kind of calculate the type of weight I'll have for food supply as well. I've got some spare Ziploc bags that when I get to the States that I can break it down out of its packaging, like for instance ditch the coffee jar to save on some weight. And I forgot to mention earlier that I also take like a bit of like a placemat that I bought from Red Dot for I think $1, and I've cut it up, and that I'm using as a chopping board and a plate. So I find that really helpful when you've got wraps and things and you're wanting to cut up your cheese or your salami to have for the 8 grams it weighs. One thing that's going to be really different for me going to America hiking from Australia is the risk of bears. So there's black bears all along the Appalachian Trail, and apparently there's various methods for keeping your food safe. I'm going to go with an Ursack, which is a bag that includes Kevlar and is supposed to be resistant to bears being able to claw it, etc., including grizzlies. Has a long rope, so you would secure it to a tree or potentially put it up on one of the bear cables in areas that have those, so that the bear can't actually take it away with it. And I'm preferring to take that because of the weight savings over taking a rigid bear canister, and I'm also concerned because I won't have the opportunity to try it out before I get to America, that it would actually fit in my pack. So I've already gone ahead and purchased the Ursack online, and I'll go in and pick that up when I arrive in Atlanta. I'm not taking a pack cover this time, just to save that 300 grams that weighs. But instead I will be using a Nyla Flume pack liner. So that's just a high strength plastic bag that you put inside. I think they're a bit heavier duty than just a normal garbage bag, and hopefully that will protect all my gear from getting wet. The pack is a little bit water resistant, but apart from on the bottom. So that pretty much wraps up all the gear that I'll be taking on the trail. So I just did a final weigh-in with my fully loaded pack. So the base weight for my pack is 8 kilos, and that also includes the weight of the bear bag, the Ursack that I've purchased, plus the cooler cloth that I haven't yet picked up. It doesn't include things that are likely to fluctuate in weight. So for example, it doesn't include any of my food. It doesn't include things like my prescription medications, or any of the clothes that I'll be wearing on the trail, or my trekking poles, hat, that kind of thing. But it does include disposable items. All right, so that's it from me for today. Thanks very much for watching, and hope you found this video useful. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section, or get in touch if you need some more information. Otherwise, please subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to post lots of videos from the trail and some other trail information and hiking information. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching.